As Martin mentioned, the 250th anniversary of Lord Mansfield's seminal judgment in Carter and Bohm on insurance law and utmost good faith came and went a couple of years ago. Some of you might have missed it. The insurance issues in that case arose out of a French attack on Fort Marlborough, a British trading post in Bencaloo. Bencaloo is a city about 6,000 kilometres northwest of Sydney on the south coast of the Indonesian island of Sumatra, which is just to the west of Java. At the beginning of October 2016, 20 of us from Australia, Singapore, England and Indonesia attended a conference in Bencaloo to acknowledge the origins of arguably the most important case in insurance law. Alan and I organised that conference. The trigger for the conference was a conversation I had with Alan in October 2015 in Darwin. And I was saying to him that I wanted to organise the conference, but I couldn't get someone to put up the seed money. And I didn't want to organise it myself because I didn't want to make a personal profit out of it. That wasn't the point. And Alan suggested, why don't we arrange it so that any profit that we make from it goes to a deserving local charity? And in due course, my local contact in Bencaloo suggested the Amal Mulia Orphanage in Bencaloo. Some months before the conference, my wife and Alan's good mate, Hazel Kerr, the conference organiser, travelled to Bencaloo to check out the place, including the orphanage. None of us had ever travelled anywhere near there. I think my wife and I are probably the only West Australians who've never even had a holiday in Bali. We didn't know what to expect from this Muslim country, from this large city on an island very few Australians have visited, or the welcome that we might or might not get. The photographs and video footage you are now watching is a record of that conference and of a visit to Bencaloo by Alan Manning and myself in March this year. And the footage begins with our first visit to the orphanage, where we presented Australian caps and T-shirts and other gifts, as well as some locally sourced sporting equipment. We also gave them sacks of rice and similar because their first and only request was for food. There are about 25 children at this orphanage, all with severe physical or mental handicaps, namely deaf, dumb, blind, mentally retarded, Down syndrome, or a combination of some of those. They're well looked after by a headmistress who's kind and caring. On each occasion I visited the orphanage has been neat and clean, as have the children content and courteous in the most basic of circumstances. It's been a humbling experience for me each time I visited. The orphanage is funded by a private foundation, relies entirely on donations from locals and from visitors. It receives no government funding. As you can see from the footage, the purpose of Alan and my visit to the orphanage in March this year was to oversee the erection of a water drinking well and the beds and mattresses being delivered to the orphanage, all made possible by funds raised by last year's Lord Mansfield Awards. The proceeds from the ticket sales tonight will go to the orphanage to meet with some of its other basic needs. I think Lord Mansfield would be very pleased to learn that his name is being associated with support for this orphanage. After all, in Somerset's case, he brought an end to slavery in Britain. And he also brought Dido Elizabeth Bell into his home, not as a slave, but as a member of the family, she being the natural daughter of his nephew Sir John Lindsay, and Marie Bell, an enslaved African woman. In his will, Lord Mansfield confirmed her freedom and made her an heiress. Some of you might have seen the film Bell, which was about that story. Alan and I are no Lord Mansfields, but like him we care, and you do too. Thank you.